Hey everybody, this is Ditto from Reef to Reef. I thought it'd be really cool to show a quick overview of the GHL Connect application as it pertains to the GHL ProfiLux Mini Wi-Fi. Now that I got it on my home network, I thought it would be nice to go down just a quick overview of what the GHL Connect app looks like when you're connecting to the GHL ProfiLux Mini. So let's get started. I'm going to open up the GHL Connect app. And you're going to notice that I have a couple things on my GHL Connect, but I'm going to choose my Seahorse tank, which is my ProfiLux Mini, and I'm now connecting to my ProfiLux Mini. You have your dashboard on your main menu. This is where you can add tiles. You can add features. For an example is maybe I want to see webcams or charts or my switch channels, for an example. You can move them around up and down. Again, the dashboard allows you to pretty much customize that first entrance points when you're logging into the controller. Clicking on the hamburger icon in the upper left-hand corner, you're given a whole slew of menu options. Your dashboard is where you first logged into the system. General will give you where you set your date and time, what your English, what your language default is, if you want alarms to be enabled on your device, and then you can set the security. The security is a PIN number that you can set, so when logging onto the device, either GHL Connect or locally on the display, you need to enter the PIN to enter the device. You also have Illumination Setup. Illumination is when you connect a Mitras Slimline light bar, you can go in here and actually set up the entire light bar. You can set up what the individual channels are going to do by actually selecting each and any one of the channels. You can set their brightness, when they're going to turn on, turn off, ramp up, ramp down. You can also go into your processes. Your processes are your timers for your controller. This would be used for an example, is if you wanted not to use a Mitras Slimline light bar, but maybe you want to have your own type of light established on the tank and you want to turn it on and off. You can then go into the timers, and what you can do is you can set the start and end times of the timer and then apply that, for an example, to a switch socket. You also have reminders. A reminder is that maybe you want something to come up on the device and give you that reminder. You can turn around and enable a reminder to repeat itself and what text. And what will happen is it will actually put up a little reminder text saying, hey, you need to do this. Other options are underneath extra. This is where you can set up your stream groups. Your stream groups, for an example, maybe you have 1 through 10 volt devices and you wish to control them on your ProfiLux controller. For an example, on one of my tanks, I use tons power heads. You can actually add those to the 1 through 10 volt ports, and then you can create stream groups that can either ramp up, ramp down, pulsate the tons pumps, giving you different types of wave patterns that it actually will take place inside of your tank. You also have your feed pause mode. Your feed pause is used for when it's actually activated either through the GHL Connect app or directly on the display of the device. It's used for an example, if you want to pause your skimmer on your tank, or if you want to maybe turn off your return pump. Again, it's just another easy feature within the controller. This is where you set it up, you set its duration, and then when you hit the start button, that will actually enable the feed pause. And as long as you have the switch ports or the devices configured for feed pause, they will in turn be affected by it. The good thing is that because there's a duration, if you forget about it after you turn it on, you're going to find out that after, for an example, 5 minutes, it's going to return back to its normal programming. Also with the ProfiLux Mini Wi-Fi, you get maintenance mode. For an example, maintenance mode, maybe you want to turn off your return pumps, turn off your power heads, but you want to turn up your light bars. What you can do in here is that you can set them individually to do certain tasks, which then in turn removes it from its existing programming and then gets overridden by the maintenance program. Again, just like feed mode, if you forget, what happens is that it has a maximum duration, and after the end of that duration, the maintenance mode ends and returns back to normal programming. What you also get is your sensors. This is where you would see your two sensors. Right now I have not calibrated my sensors, so what you're seeing right now is that my sensors are a little bit low. Normally you would have this showing your normal sensor information, but since I have not yet put the probes inside my tank and I'm showing a quick overview, this is just to allow you to see what the sensors look like. You can go into your sensors, for an example, and you can set them. You can set the nominal value. You can set, does it change at night? Do you want alarms? the operational mode, and so forth. You can also do your switch channels. These are your power outlets, as we like to say. By default, the ProfiLux Mini Wi-Fi only can support up to 4 channels. This is where you would configure those switch channels. For my tank, I'm going to be using 2 heaters, which will be on switch channels 1 and 2. Switch channels 3 will be my skimmer, and my switch channel 4 will be used for my return pump. Your display, this is the actual display that's sitting on the ProfiLux Controller Mini Wi-Fi. You can say, do you want to show certain things? What viewable events do you want to see on your display? When it comes to illuminations, pH value, you can even do miscellaneous things if you want to see your stream groups or moon phase, for an example. You can set the overall brightness of your display. Another thing that you can do is that the display can go dark after hours. You also have the ability to control your 1 through 10 volt devices. Again, if you were installing a device that was supported by 1 through 10 volts, you would plug them into the 1 through 10 volt ports, and this is where you could actually go in and configure them. And you can choose the type of functions. Are they going to be part of an illumination? Is it a stream pump? Is it going to be variable? Do you want it to be impacted, for an example, by pH or by temperature? Next, you have your system. This is going to give you your overall serial number, what firmware version, the firmware date. If it's been connected already to my GHL, you're going to see the GHL ID and the security key that's used for the GHL device. Your network, which I've shown a couple times now on other videos, this is where you go set up your network information, your access point, type of mode. Below the Wi-Fi settings is the web server information. This is where you would set the username and password. Understand that the ProfiLux Mini Wi-Fi also has a built-in web server that you can open up in a standard web browser. Last is your webcam. If you do install a webcam onto your controller, this is where you would actually add that, and also logbooks. This is where you would actually enable and add logbook information. So if you want to start monitoring parameters on your tank, maybe when you wanted to add a fish or other type things or standard maintenance, maybe you have to replace something like the carbon. This is where you can actually set those reminders and also start keeping track of it. Again, this is just a quick overview of what features are found within the GHL Connect application when connected to a ProfiLux Mini. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, or you can always look me up on Reef to Reef. This is Ditto, signing off.